for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Married to Medicine. This is season 9, episode 3. It was a good time. It was a good time. So let's get into it. If I got some tea, we talk about it. So why did Heavenly take her happy dappy self onto Twitter and post this after the episode was aired? She said, these folks really want to argue with me about the ish they have been talking about on national TV for the last 2 years. She was talking about Contessa, and she said, hashtag make it make sense, hashtag my YouTube is only a summary, hashtag married to medicine, hashtag team daddy. Heavenly don't care. Heavenly does not care, which is a mess. But let's get into it. The episode opens up and we actually see Quad and Simone hanging out, which I love to see them hanging out. I know they're not as close as they used to be, but I enjoy them because at a time, Quad and Simone were actually very much close, and you could tell that Simone loved Quad down and their family loved Quad down. So they're talking about Mason and Mary. Simone is like, I'm so shocked that you got your mom to move, to Atlanta. She also is a little worried about Quad, where she's like, I hope Quad is not taking on too much that she can't handle with taking care of Mason and her mom. She said that Mason calls her all the time. Quad is like, my life is being ran by this little boy, this little man named Mason. Mason be calling Quad, and if Quad don't pick up, he call her again. And I said, see, Mason said, when I call you, you pick up. When I call you, you pick up, ma'am. And that had me tickled. That had me tickled. As well as she was like, Mason used to sleep in the bed with her, but she was like, girl, I had to give him his own room. She was like, I don't want to wake up with no black eye. And I said, kids do sleep wild. But it was really cute. They also talk about Miles having Miles's girlfriend, Andrea, and Quad kept calling the girl Andrea. I think she kept calling him Andrea or Andrea, something like that. And Simone was like, why are you putting so much emphasis on the ending? It's Andrea, not Andrea, or something like that. I cackled. But it was such a cute scene. We then see Contessa and Toya hanging out. And Toya, I guess her storyline this year is self-care, which I'm like, Toya has nothing going on. But Contessa goes over to Toya's house. They talk about Eugene being like a workaholic and him wanting to create this legacy. And they also talk about how Heavenly has said some really hurtful things. And mind y'all, Heavenly ain't stopping. I haven't watched her YouTube channel, but I was hearing rumblings in the streets, especially on these YouTube streets, that she said that Eugene allegedly might be cheating on Toya, as well as she knows how much Eugene makes because Damon was the one that got him his first job, and that she knows that they don't have enough money to even be building a new house or paying for this new house. And I said, see, Heavenly needs to tread lightly. She really does. And we're going to talk about, they stupid intervention at the end, which was a key. But Heavenly needs to tread lightly, because when you start talking about people's financials and saying that your husband was a director of this and knows this and that, and certain things are supposed to be confidential information, you could get sued for real. And I don't think Toya is above that, because she don't like you and you don't like her. You don't. So they come up with this idea to have an intervention. They call Simone, and Simone is like, I don't think Heavenly cares if the thing she says hurts our feelings. Like, she jabs at everybody. And they even show a clip of Heavenly's YouTube where Heavenly's like, I jab at everyone. I jab at everybody. And so Simone is like, how are you going to get her to like see the error of her ways? She was like, I'm going to assemble a video of Heavenly's greatest hits. And I was just like, okay, girl. Okay. But I was with Simone. We've seen time and time again, Heavenly will apology. Heavenly will apologize, but then it will be a fake apology, and then she does it again. Like, I don't think Heavenly cares about the things that she say about these women or their feelings. So it's kind of weird that she refers to them as her friends, when it's like, if you were really friends with these people, you wouldn't do the things that you do. Let's just call a spade a spade. If you cared enough about them, you wouldn't like hurt them if they told you that they were hurt by your words. Like, you would try to like ease up on your content, or at least change your approach of how you want to say these things, pretty much. So we then see Jackie. She's talking to a patient that has, I think, is voluminous cord incision. So basically, the lady is pregnant, and when you're having a baby, the umbilical cord, I guess, is supposed to sit like directly like in the center, so the baby can get all the nutrients from the mom from eating. But it seems with this defect, the umbilical cord is like on the side, and I guess she was just saying the only things you really need to worry about is like excessive bleeding. But the lady was about to go on like maternity leave. And I just like how Jackie was just like, advocate for yourself. Like the best thing you can do is always ask questions and advocate for yourself. Because the truth of the matter is, Black women are out here dying, giving birth in a country that is not supposed to be having birth rates similar to a third world country when we have access to all of this stuff. That's why a lot of people are doing at home births, especially, us are doing at home births, or they are going to birthing facilities, not actual hospitals, because they don't feel safe or comfortable. And I can't fault nobody. Like, they tell you giving birth is the closest thing to death when it's in human, like, in real life. So I wouldn't play with that. I would not. I really wouldn't. So we then see Anila. When I tell y'all I started crying on this, them little kids, it was the daughter. Hearing that little girl cry when Miss Gomez left, I was no good. I was no good. Like, she's been with them for 5 years since Anila's youngest son. I was mad that they waited till the day of to tell the kids that she was leaving. Like, they didn't prepare them. Like, I was like, y'all could have told them like 2 weeks in advance or like a month in advance to be like, hey, Miss Gomez is leaving, so they could get their minds right. And then like y'all could have had like a party to tell her thank you and to like celebrate her. But just for them to like have the kids sit at the kitchen like counter and them to be like, yeah, she leaving, and she's like, I'm not coming back. And then the little boy to be like, what about my pimento beans? I said, oh, that's just that took me out. That took me out. And then she's like, and then it was like, mommy can make your pimento beans, but she was like, it's not gonna be like Miss I forgot the name that they called her, but it was like a sweet, endearing name where they were like, it's not gonna be like hers, so I don't want your nasty pimento beans. I want Miss Gomez pimento beans, girl. I said pimento, pintos, pinto beans, y'all. So they were like, we love you. Like, the little kids, the fact that the little kids like took it far better than Anila and Kieran did was a lot. It says a lot. Like, the kids just jumped down and they hugged her. She got in the car, and when she pulled off, that little girl broke down, and I just started tearing up, especially when they showed like the flashbacks of how long she's been with them, seeing the little times that they were talking and she was speaking to them in Spanish, calling them beautiful and handsome. And I was just like, oh, Miss Gomez, like, it's so hard to find, like Anila and Kieran would say, it's so hard to find people that you trust, that you feel are going to love your kids or respect them or care for them the same way you would. And they were blessed to have Miss Gomez for 5 years. Now it's time for Anila to do her thing. Girl, you gonna have to like figure out how to make a schedule with blogging and taking care of your kids, sis. It is what it is now. It is what it is now. But it was just a moment. It was a moment that when Anila was like, she felt close enough to tell Miss Gomez that she was 4 weeks pregnant, because, most people don't tell. Most people really don't tell nobody that they're pregnant, especially in the first month. They normally wait when they're like 3 months pregnant. She was like, she just really trusted her. And I thought that was sweet. We then see this scene with Eugene and Toya where Eugene is getting up to go to work. I felt bad for Eugene. When Eugene was like, he feels like he's in muddy waters as it pertains to the ER. And he was like, I used to love the ER, but dealing with the pandemic and seeing that type of death constantly on her, he got burnt out. And a lot of people in the medical field got burnt out. Nurses, what's it called? the people who cleaned up after everyone, the custodial staffs and things of that nature, even the people who aren't, I think, nurses, but they're a type of nurse, but they're lower than like a registered nurse. Like the whole operation of people that work at a facility, like not facility, work at the hospitals were tired. And I can't even fault them. Like it was so much going on. The hospitals were packed. And I know that firsthand from having a friend who was still working because of the pandemic, who was still in the hospitals as an intern, just recently graduated from medical school, and was just like, girl, it's real out here. And he was just like, a lot of people have gotten burned out. And now Eugene is like, I got to find something else, like a different outlet where I do like maybe half, like, half my time at ER, but something else. And he was talking about how he wanted to retire at 65. He said, now I'm looking like 35, not 35, 45, whereas 45. Then he was like, I'm looking at 55, like I'm ready. I am ready. And I can't blame him. Like, that's a lot to see that death on a consistent basis and to just lose people left and right, because people were really dropping dead, and it was scary. It was so scary. We then have a scene with Omarosa, Cecil, and Simone. And we find out that Cecil and Simone have known Omarosa before she was affiliated with Trump, which is probably why they tolerate her now. I will say, one thing I can give Omarosa, and I will forever stand, is when she got Bethany together on her own show. Ooh, that slaps. That slaps so hard. It's so satisfying the way she got that lady together on her own. Like, when I tell you she just cleared and she collected her, I said, come on. She was like, y'all get rewarded for mediocrity. Look at you. Look at this show. I said, come on, Omarosa. But, Omarosa has a bestsellers list. Not list. She's on the bestsellers list. They're talking to her about the, Simone and Cecil wanting to write a book. It was cute to see Michael call, and she was like, whatever you want, nephew, I got you. And she was like, we're just going to talk about the different itches, the 20, we've been married for 25 years, the 1 year, the 10 year, the 5 year, the 15 itch, the ebbs and flows of marriage. And Omarosa was kind of like, what would set you apart from other people? And they were like, well, basically, we come from 2 divorced families. My parents divorced, Simone's parents divorced, but we were able to figure it out. And Omarosa was like, well, that's your driving force. Like, that is what will pull the people in. And I thought that was nice. Y'all, on to this debacle of an interview. The chaos of that intervention at Contessa's house was a mess. But it was the shenanigans that I have missed when it comes to this show. So let's get into it. So everybody shows up to Contessa's house. She's telling everyone to put their phones in a bucket. Don't nobody want to do that. Anila was the only one who willingly did it, who didn't know about the intervention, because Simone, Toya, and Contessa knew about the intervention. Anila, Quad, Heavenly, and Jackie didn't know. So Quad is like, bro, I'm out. If I can't have my phone, I'm out. And everyone rushes outside to go get her. Then Toya, being the bouncer, she does it again to Jackie, and Jackie about to leave too. So then Simone Simone is like tiptoeing outside. Jackie, don't leave. And I'm not gonna lie, when Jackie said in her confessional, not MRSMD talking to me about not needing my phone, girl, you talking to the real MD. I said, come on, real MD, come on. So Jackie comes back in. Simone is like, I got to be Simone Pope. Come on, Jackie, come on. So Jackie comes back. They all sit down and they're like eating the wings, and Contessa, in this cotton candy synthetic wig that she got from Heavenly's beauty supply, decides to let the ladies know that, like, we're doing an intervention. And they like, y'all doing a what intervention? Quad is like, oh, y'all some low down, which they are. They are. Like, it's a mess, girl. Like, it was an ambush, in my opinion. I don't think they were wrong for doing it, but it was an ambush. Like, I don't think they were wrong, but it was an ambush. Like, that's normally what an intervention is. I'm an avid watcher of intervention, and that is normally what it is. It is an ambush. So, that's what it was. That's what it was, bruh. So, Anila, like, oh, this is gonna get awkward. And then Heavenly pops up, and Contessa hugs Heavenly, and it's like, it's weird with Contessa because one minute you want to be cool with Heavenly, the next minute you don't like her, you don't ever want to be friends with her, you just don't feel her, and I'm just like, come on, girl, what is it? What is it? So then Heavenly sits down, and she hugged a few other people, and she's like, what we doing? We watching a movie? And they're like, yeah, we're about to watch a movie. So Contessa sits right beside Heavenly, and she plays it, and it's a clip of like all these times Heavenly has spoken negatively about each of the ladies in the room. And I was like, ooh, I'm not even gonna lie, I was shocked. So Heavenly is laughing, and I mean it, like, she is cracking the up. Like, Heavenly is like, like, she thinks everything that she's saying was funny. And I was like, ooh, girl, you are pouring salt in the wound, sis, and just rubbing it. And I mean, I can't hate it because I'm just kind of like, that is bold of you. That is so bold of you. It is so bold of you. But I was just like, ooh, girl, ooh. Like, the people who hate you probably hate you even more. So this is what she said about everyone, if I remember correctly. I know she called Simone a flip-flopper, and she said something else negative about Simone. Because we also know she talked about Cecil and Simone's situation. She said Anila was basically stupid because she was like, Anila don't even have like a graduate degree. She said Jackie probably got ants from Curtis from cheating because, you know, he be out here. He said the best thing Toya did was marry Eugene. Like, she lazy as hell, but she was smart to marry Eugene because he gonna work himself to death, basically. And then Contessa, she said, I want Contessa to follow her heart, but if she not gonna get out the relationship, shut the F up. And then with Quad, she basically said Quad sleeps with married men, as well as she said that Quad had something done with her face. And this was the time Anila was on the show, and Anila was like, oh, it might be fillers. So Anila got scared because you see her face look this quirk, like she switched her face like that because Quad and her were like on the same like row in the movie room. And Quad was like, I've never gotten fillers. I'm the youngest and the prettiest one in here. And then Anil was like, oh, well, I've gotten fillers. And Quad just looked at her like, as Quad is taking notes. And Quad was already pissed about the married woman, like her sleeping with married men. So Quad was even in her confession, was like, I have never, and I would never. So she was like, flag on the play. Like, she got pissed. She got pissed in that confessional. She was like, girl. So Heavenly, like I said, is laughing. She is laughing. Quad is taking notes. Jackie, to me, I think the tide might slightly be turning with Jackie because Jackie did not look amused. Normally, Jackie can kind of like laugh off what Heavenly does, but in this moment, like, Jackie looked pissed. Like, legitimately, like, pissed. Like, she just was like, well, I won't say pissed. I don't think she was mad. I just don't think she was, like, the antics that she normally likes about Heavenly. I think seeing her say such negative things about everybody, I think she just, like, she couldn't, like, take joy in that. Like, she just was like, Like, she just kind of looked like a disappointed mom to me. So Anila even was like, ooh, I haven't seen that one. Like, a lot of them were like, it was the first time of them seeing stuff. But I will give Toya this. When Toya said Heavenly is mean and careless with her friends, in her laughing, it did come off that way. I can't even lie. Like, although I thought it was funny that she was laughing in their faces, if you put yourselves in their shoes and if y'all were really friends with Heavenly, like, that would probably make somebody want to fight you. Like, you know, just in the mouth, just like ding ding, just pop, one good pop in the mouth. So everybody is like looking like just surprised that she's laughing. And they were just like, that's honestly like her laughing did not help the situation, but I think it was also a defense mechanism because Heavenly was just outdone that they did this to her because they did basically ambush her. They really did. So next thing you know, Heavenly's like, you could have called me 5 months ago, basically saying that and this even was what Heavenly said on her YouTube channel, that Contessa started acting funny around the time of filming. Like she wasn't acting this way like before they were filming 5 months ago. So she was like, that's why she said you could have called me 5 months ago. Like, why are you doing this now on camera? So she was like, we could have talked about this, blah, blah, blah. And Toya chimes in, and Toya was like, why do you need to talk to her privately? Like, YouTube is for everybody. Which is true, because YouTube is for everybody. It is. Like, people from other countries watch YouTube, and like, I think I watch a YouTube, and the person don't even live in America. So I'm like, YouTube is pretty much is for everybody. So Heavenly is like, oh, she's like, I'm leaving. So then they're like, no, sit down, stop running away. And she was like, she's just mad. She was like, y'all just mad about some words. Everything I said was true. Y'all just mad about some words. She was like, and then Heavenly and Toya are going back and forth. And Heavenly says, your husband says you are the worst decision he ever made. And I was like, ooh, girl. Eugene did say that, but I was just like, ooh. Ooh, but I get it. Heavenly feels like she backed in a corner and she's trying to defend herself. So, they're like, don't apologize to me in private. You can talk on your platform negatively about me. You should be able to say it to my face. So then Heavenly grabs Contessa and she's like, let's go out here and talk where she's not around everybody. And I really do think Heavenly cares about her relationship with Contessa because we've never seen her act this way. So I genuinely think she's hurt by Contessa doing this, as well as them not talking, because we remember they said they talked every day. So when she grabbed her and they were outside, Contessa just starts yelling. They both start yelling, but Contessa was louder. Like, I could tell in the morning her voice was going to be her hoarse, and she was just like going off. She was like, I never told you I was in an abusive relationship. And then Heavenly's like, you're not mad at me, you're mad at your husband. And Contessa's like, no, like, you're supposed to be my friend. You're doing all of this stuff. And I loved how Jackie said, y'all, this intervention was a bust. Y'all basically left a bull out in a china shop. So they're yelling back and forth. Contessa's like, you're supposed to be my friend. You're on the internet talking trash about me for clicks and views. Why don't you talk about your own marriage? You making $20 off of talking about me and my family and our marriages. And if my marriage is a joke, your marriage is a joke. Like, when I tell you they was going back and forth, like, Heavenly was trying to hug Contessa. Contessa was like, get off me. It was so much going on, bro. So much. They were like, Jackie, you might want to go talk to them. And Jackie was like, girl, I'm done. They can handle it. And they talk about the cheating thing. And the thing about it is with Contessa, it's like, sis, for the past 2 years, you've kind of been saying that your marriage hasn't been the best. And Heavenly is just giving her commentary on your marriage. I honestly feel like Scott and Contessa, if they were playing with their marriage, the block got too hot. And now they're reaping like the backlash and the repercussions of it and can't handle it. If it was, in fact, a fake storyline. Just saying. And if it wasn't a fake storyline, I kind of like, Contessa, everyone has an opinion. But I do get it's like your friend. You don't want your friend to have a negative opinion about you or to throw jabs at you when you're in a situation where like you're trying to fix your relationship. Or even if you're not even trying to fix it, you're trying to find a way out or work your way through it. And it's like it's not nice to see your friend speaking negatively about you. We just gonna have to call a spade a spade. So Simone takes Toya, and not Toya, takes Contessa to like a playroom. And she was like, this just wasn't the way to do it. It just didn't work. And Contessa's just like, so she's allowed to talk negatively about our marriages and about us, knowing good and well if we were to talk about her husband, she would be just as mad as us. She yanks off the wig, like, here, take this cheap shit. And she, like I said, okay, you trying to get that Oscar, girl. You trying to get that Oscar. So Jackie is trying to talk to Heavenly, and she said, stop slinging dirt. Think about it. Like, Heavenly thinks everything is a joke, but sometimes jokes hurt. And, like, your friends are hurt. Like, stop seeing it that way. So Simone is trying to see Heavenly out. Heavenly calls Simone a flip-flopping bitch. Simone is like, I'm not, but, you have a good night. Quad basically said what was true, that like this wasn't a chance to get through to Heavenly. It was about getting Heavenly, because and I agree with her. But the thing is, like, Heavenly has gotten them and you on her channel, so it's now time for her to get got in their eyes. They were like, you can't really reason with someone who is defensive, but they were like, this is not effective. But nobody made Heavenly say those words. Heavenly said those words out her own mouth. So she can't be mad when people are angry with her. She has to take ownership of that, which she definitely has to. Like, you have to take ownership of that. Like, Heavenly has to take ownership of that. Like, you have been speaking negatively about these people. And it was weird to see, like, the tide on the internet. So we're going to talk about that. But that was pretty much the episode. But we're going to talk about the tide on the internet. Like, the way in which the wave on the internet. There were, like, two fractions this morning and last night where some people felt like Contessa did the most, and I kind of felt like she did the most with the compilation video, because I was like, girl, who has time for this? And other people felt like, it was also, people felt like Contessa did the most with making that compilation video, but also when Heavenly blurted out, like, you could have talked to me 5 months ago, people feel like Contessa is putting on for a storyline. And I can kind of see that. And from other people's perspectives, if y'all were cool 5 months ago, and then when we start filming, all of a sudden now you're hurt and all of this stuff, I get it. I would be like, yeah, girl, this is fake. But I think the issue for Contessa is that I don't think she ever thought she was going to catch a stray from Heavenly. I think Contessa was fine with being online, kikiing and talking about the other ladies. The way she talked about Toya, she talked about Toya like a dog. That's why it's weird to me that her and Toya are cool, because I wouldn't be cool with her if I was Toya. Like, we be co-workers filming for the show, but we wouldn't be friends the way they are trying to portray it as now. But I really think Contessa is upset that she got hit with a stray. I think she felt like, me and Heavenly talk every day. She knows what I've been going through. She would never try to, like, demean my relationship or to jab at it or make jokes about it, because this is my girl. I'm her Tessa. Like, she my girl. And she learned that nobody is safe with Heavenly, whether that's friend or foe. And Heavenly proved that. And I think Contessa is just having a hard time swallowing this pill that, like, sis, she really don't care about you. She don't care about nobody but herself. So yeah, the block got hot for Contessa. The other fraction was saying that no, Contessa cleared Heavenly. And everyone was like, how? Explain, because Heavenly laughed it off like it was nothing. And people were like, think about it. Everyone's always quick to defend Heavenly or to, like, brush what Heavenly says off. But if you really think about it, people were saying that it showcased that Heavenly has talked negatively about everybody. Anila was like, ooh, I haven't seen this. Quad was like, pause. Even Jackie, like I said, Jackie's face was so, like, disappointed and unamused by Heavenly's antics, especially when she started laughing. I think that's what really rubbed everybody the wrong way, even though I thought it was funny. But if I was them, I would be rubbed the wrong way. And people were like, it's going to stop them from always caping for Heavenly and jumping to her defense, because now they've seen evidence of her talking negatively about them. And the truth of the matter is, like Heavenly said, y'all have put yourselves out there, which they have, but it stings more when it's somebody who is in the same boat as you. You're filming with these ladies, you have relationships with these women, and them constantly seeing you talk negatively about them, it hurts. it hurts. And they have a right to be heard, and you have to be able to take that. If you're able to have your YouTube channel and speak about them, whether it's good or bad, then you have to be ready for people to voice their critiques about you and to voice their feelings when they're hurt. I just think Heavenly has to own that. If you just gonna be like, F all of them, F they feelings, I'ma do me, you also have to be ready and willing to receive the repercussions that these women might stop messing with you. Because that's what it's looking like. But it probably will never happen because Jackie seems to always want to ride with Heavenly as well as Quad. And slightly Anila, so it might never happen. But it was interesting. I'm not going to lie. This episode was a key. It was a good time. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and drop down in them comments below. Bye.